When most people hear the word pharaoh, they imagine golden masks, massive pyramids rising from the desert, and powerful rulers seated on ornate thrones. But who were the pharaohs really, and what is the hidden story behind these ancient leaders that many people still don't fully understand? The truth is far more fascinating and complex than the popular images often shown in movies or textbooks. Pharaohs were the kings and queens of ancient Egypt, but they were not just political rulers. They were believed to be living gods on earth, intermediaries between humanity and the divine world. In Egyptian belief, the pharaoh maintained cosmic balance, known as Mot, which represented order, harmony, and justice. This meant that ruling Egypt was not simply about power or wealth. It was a sacred responsibility tied to religion, nature, and the survival of society itself. Every action taken by a pharaoh, from building temples to leading military campaigns, was connected to maintaining this balance. One surprising fact many people do not know is that not all pharaohs were men. Some of the most powerful rulers of Egypt were women, such as Hatshepsut, who ruled during a time of great prosperity and expanded trade networks across the region. Another famous female ruler, Cleopatra VII, is often remembered for her political alliances with Rome, but she was also a highly educated leader who spoke multiple languages. She navigated complex diplomatic challenges. Female pharaohs challenged traditional expectations and demonstrated that power in ancient Egypt was not limited by gender alone. Another misconception is that all pharaohs built pyramids. In reality, pyramid construction was mostly limited to specific periods of Egyptian history, particularly the Old Kingdom. Later pharaohs chose different burial methods, such as hidden tombs in the Valley of the Kings, designed to protect their treasures from tomb robbers. These changes reflected evolving religious beliefs, economic conditions, and security concerns. The image of pyramids as the universal symbol of pharaonic rule hides the diversity of Egypt's long and changing history. Pharaohs also ruled for an incredibly long span of time, over 3,000 years. This means that the role of a pharaoh changed significantly across different dynasties. Early rulers focused on unifying Upper and Lower Egypt, creating one of the world's first centralized states. Later pharaohs expanded Egypt's territory through military campaigns into regions of Libya, the Levant, and beyond, turning Egypt into a powerful empire. During other periods, pharaohs faced invasions, economic struggles, and internal conflicts that reshaped their authority. So when we talk about pharaohs, we are not referring to a single type of ruler but to generations of leaders adapting to changing circumstances. Another fascinating detail many people overlook is how multicultural ancient Egypt actually was. While Egypt had its own strong identity and traditions, it interacted constantly with neighboring regions through trade, diplomacy, and warfare. Foreigners sometimes rose to powerful positions, and even individuals of non-Egyptian origin became pharaohs. The Hyksos rulers, for example, came from outside Egypt and introduced new technologies such as horse-drawn chariots. Later, Nubian kings from the south ruled as pharaohs during the 25th dynasty, showing that the concept of pharaonic authority could extend beyond ethnic boundaries. The daily life of a pharaoh was also more complex than many imagine. While they lived in luxury compared to ordinary people, their role required constant religious ceremonies, political decision-making, and public appearances. Temples were built not just as places of worship but as centers of economic and administrative power. The pharaoh's image appeared in carvings and statues across the land, reinforcing the idea that the ruler was both human and divine. Perhaps one of the biggest surprises is that many pharaohs are largely forgotten today. Popular culture focuses on figures like Tutankhamun or Ramses II, but Egypt's history includes dozens of lesser-known rulers. Some reformed religion, others reorganized administration, and some presided over cultural renaissances that influenced art, literature, and architecture. The famous golden mask of Tutankhamun became iconic mainly because his tomb was discovered almost intact in the 20th century, not necessarily because he was the most powerful ruler. The end of the pharaonic era did not happen suddenly. Over centuries, Egypt experienced foreign rule from Persians, Greeks, and eventually Romans. Cleopatra VII is often considered the last pharaoh, and her death marked the transition of Egypt into a Roman province. Yet even after this political change, the cultural legacy of the pharaohs continued to inspire later civilizations, influencing art, religion, and political symbolism across the Mediterranean and beyond. So who were the pharaohs? They were more than kings. They were religious leaders, military commanders, diplomats, and symbols of divine authority. They governed one of the longest lasting civilizations in human history, adapting to challenges over thousands of years. What many people do not realize is that the story of the pharaohs is not just about monumental architecture or ancient myths, but about complex individuals navigating power, belief, and survival in a constantly changing world. And maybe the most important thing to remember is that history often simplifies the past into easy symbols, but the real story is always deeper. The pharaohs were not just figures carved into stone. They were human beings shaped by their time, their environment, and their responsibilities, leaving behind a legacy that continues to fascinate the world today. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient history, don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who loves discovering hidden stories, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating historical insights that reveal what you did not know about the world's greatest civilizations.